Every one of these lizards looked perfectly normal until they didn't. And until you know the one tiny detail for each individual that gives everything away. Watch closely as we go through our exams in these cases. Can you spot the red flags before I point them out? It's worth looking at if you own reptiles. I'm Dr. Pat. I'm an exotic veterinarian. I've been practicing for 25 years. And today I'm breaking down a few of the cases that we've seen in the hospital. And these are real life cases with different presentations, different species of reptiles or lizards. Some more unique, some pretty common, but hopefully useful information with all of them. I'll show you what clues to look for, how we do preventative care to make sure we don't get to this problem, and in many cases how we treat it or what the resolution of the case was. I hope you enjoy. We have a beautiful adult male iguana here today, and this iguana was found by Crystal's Critter Haven, a rescue. He was in a canal and was rescued as an adult. He does have stomatitis and some ulcerated dermatitis on his ventral or rostral mandible. So I'm going to show you that. So you can see when we look at his chin, he has the ulcer that's bleeding a little bit, and also at the lip margin, you can see some scabs and crusts right at the margin of the lip, which is the stomatitis. He's also, the upper and lower maxillary and mandible mouth don't meet evenly. If you look from the side, you can kind of see that the maxilla is kind of sunken back a little bit, indicating that he probably had some nutritional issues, which we would expect in an iguana that had been released into the wild or escaped into the wild. And so this is probably residual from that. He does have a little bit of an attitude. This is very typical of adult male iguanas. They can become very aggressive. We have a hand on his tail here because they will whip you with this tail. They can also bite, so we just try to go slow with these guys and handle them with caution. But as you can see, and I'm going to take the towel off, he is a gorgeous animal, but also a very big animal. And the important thing here is iguanas need very specialized care. They need a lot of room. They are also rainforest animals. They need high humidity. We're in Arizona. That can be very difficult to provide to these guys. And they also are vegetarian, and they need a very diverse vegetarian diet that has adequate levels of vegetable protein as well as all of the nutrients. And then we do supplement them as well with calcium, vitamin D, multivitamin. So their needs are very, very important. We have on our website iguana care guides at littlecrittersvet.com, so you can learn more there. He is a color morph, so the typical color is a green iguana. Now they come in all different colors. I've seen some beautiful blues and obviously his orange. Gorgeous animal. They can live a long time. Males can be very difficult. They're often acquired as babies where they're very sweet, and they can get pretty aggressive as adults. So that should be considered, as well as the size requirements for these big lizards in captivity. I have Mochi, a 2-year-old leopard gecko, with us today, and he's in for a very common problem that we frequently see in these geckos. He has some retained shed in his eye, and he's a little mad. So I'm holding him up by his head so that we don't think he can get away by dropping his tail. So we're not being mean to him, we're just making sure he knows we have his head, because if we try to hold the tail and they get stressed, they'll drop their tail off. So he now thinks, okay, he's caught, he doesn't need to drop his tail. Really important when you're handling these geckos. So if you see, he has retained shed in this eye and it's totally closed, he's mad. And he also has stomatitis. If you look, you can see some lip ulcerations along the gum line. Hold on, little man, hold on, we'll do it, it's okay. If you can see on the upper lip here, you can see where the lip margin kind of deviates, and those are scabs and wounds. So that's oral stomatitis or infection kind of along that area. I know, you're doing so good, you're so brave. This is a male leopard gecko. You can see the femoral pores right here. You can also see the hemipene bulges, indicating he's a male. The other issue we have is retained shed on the toes. You can see it looks like he's wearing mittens, and these are a problem because they will cause constrictions, and they can act like tourniquets over time where they'll actually lose their toes if they retain these. So these issues are something that can be avoided in geckos. Very important with geckos that we provide adequate humidity, and that no, little man, and that humidity can be provided by a moist hide. And so we usually do sphagnum moss and soak it thoroughly and put it in a moist hide and keep it moist so he can go in there when he's shedding to lose the shed. They also need vitamin A in their supplementation. Geckos cannot convert beta carotene to vitamin A. Most reptile supplements have beta carotene. So you need to read your supplement and make sure it's appropriate for geckos and that they are actually on at least a weekly vitamin A supplementation, which will also help with normal skin. And for the eye, we're going to flush this eye out and try to get that eye shed to flush out because he's not eating right now, partially from the mouth, but mostly just because his vision is impeded. This is a beautiful Argus monitor lizard. These become very large lizards and should only be kept by experienced caretakers. They can be very aggressive and deliver serious bites. This girl is actually very well behaved, just wants to move and be busy, which is typical to their nature. They're also called yellow spotted monitors. They're native to Australia and New Guinea. They are hunters, which means they're very intelligent and very active. You should have a very large enclosure, usually about 8 feet by 4 feet by 5 feet. Bigger is always better for them. You do need to monitor the temperature and humidity very closely, and typically feed whole prey and calcium supplementation. We have here today a gorgeous Panther chameleon. These are one of my favorite chameleons. They're very vividly colored. They get to a decent size. Beautiful animals. Chameleons in general are pretty sensitive animals health-wise, require ideal care, nutrition, supplementation, and environment. I often tell clients we're in Arizona that their ideal environment is closer to Florida, and that's a little harder to mimic in Arizona because we're so dry here. Humidity is very important that we maintain it. We often use a fogger on a timer for these guys. It is important to monitor that with a hygrometer. We also have you monitor the temperatures very closely, make sure they have a live plant, they have a symbiotic relationship with their plant. It really decreases their stress levels. And then to make sure that they do get calcium supplementation, and then we usually do weekly multivitamin, vitamin A, and vitamin D. Cosmo's here today because he is a little lethargic. He has some wounds on his back feet. When he came in this morning, he actually couldn't grip at all, which is a very, very serious sign in chameleons. And if you look at his feet, he is gripping now, but it's a much weaker grip than I tend to see on these guys. They usually have a very strong grip with their little front mittens. So that can be a sign of, we call it a crashing chameleon, but it can indicate a pretty serious systemic illness. And they can very quickly go from that to fatal. So it's not something we wait on and pay very close attention to it and address it promptly. If you notice on his toes, we have wounds on the bottom sides of the toes, and he has them on both back feet, a little worse on one than the other. And skin lesions are very common in chameleons. We often see fungal skin lesions. They can have bacterial infections as well as trauma and some burns in chameleons as well. The plan for him today is to get some blood work on him and see what's going on systemically. I want to see what his kidney values are like. We'll check and make sure that the red and white blood cells are normal. We'll see if there's a spike in the white cells indicating systemic infection. And we're doing a culture and a blood culture to actually see if there's bacteria in the bloodstream, which is sepsis. And that occurs pretty frequently in chameleons and is very serious and can be fatal. And then we are starting with the modifications today. So differentials again, trauma for the wounds on the feet, fungal infections and bacterial infections, as well as stressors related to husbandry and nutrition. Those are all really important considerations when we have a sick chameleon. Blood draw from them is through their back tail vein, so right down here, and it's very non-stressful. They tend to tolerate it really well. They're wonderful animals, but they are sensitive. Really important to research their needs thoroughly and provide as close as possible to their natural environmental needs. Do you know about the desert sand swimming lizard? You're about to meet one right here. And today I'm featuring the Peter's banded skink, known as the desert sand swimmer. I love recommending this species to new owners. They're wonderful little animals. We're going to learn more about them now. What stands out about Peter's banded skinks is how steady and gentle they are. They're shy usually at first, but once they settle down, they are very slow moving, very calm, very easy to handle, not flighty, just predictable and relaxed lizards. Really nice kind of chill guys. Come from the Sahara regions of Africa, so hot, dry landscape, loose sand, and scattered rocks. They're true sand swimmers. They're able to dive under the substrate and vanish in seconds, swimming through the sand. They have smooth golden scales with dark banding and a thick muscular body. Unlike many lizards, they're not climbers or fast runners. They're ground dwelling and they burrow, so they're just stable little lizards meant to be little bulldozers. Helix with us today. He's a 4-year-old bearded dragon. He's under anesthesia right now, and we're doing the initial prep to clean him up. He has clogged femoral pores, so we're just going to show you that really quick, and then we'll show you afterwards. We look here, these are natural femoral pores on the male bearded dragons that form secretions. And a lot of these beardies, as they start to get older, these pores get impacted and don't drain. And if you look, you can see the secretions on the top, but what you should also see is there's a buildup of secretions under the skin here. You feel them, it's very hard nodules under the skin. You can see this whole area is one big buildup of secretions. And they get really uncomfortable with this. They can get infected. We just briefly anesthetize them with gas anesthesia, and then we go in and clean these out. We're doing a surface cleaning on him before we even get to that point. He is getting gas anesthesia. He has a Doppler ultrasonic probe. That's his heartbeat we hear in the background. And so we'll show you the after once we get this done. So we're under anesthesia. The site has been surgically prepped and cleaned, and we have sterile drape and instrumentation. And we're just using hemostats and digital pressure to try to loosen up the secretions that are blocking the femoral pores. And as you can see, we removed pretty large plugs in these pores, but the important thing here is there's often more below these. So using kind of digital palpation to feel what's under there and making sure after we've removed all of the obvious or frank plugs to go back in and clean and flush out each one of these is very important. And so we're just progressively going along. These plugs they feel like almost a hard wax. So we're just trying to mold them and form them so we can get them out as intact as possible. So there's less debris left behind that we can flush out. And this is a very rewarding and satisfying experience getting these out. The beardies can be uncomfortable with these, they can get infected, they can get really itchy, and so they do beautifully once you get these. If you like this, please comment and we'll try to do more compilations. We have a few hundred videos now, and it's hard picking out just a few. So hopefully this is just the start.